Hey guys, my name is Julia and I'm one of your teen services librarians over at the main library on Goodwood. We are back with STEM shenanigans, and this week it's going to be a long shot because we are making trebuchets. Supplies that accompany this week's video are available at the main library in a limited capacity. To make a tiny trebuchet, you will need 4 tongue depressors with holes bored into the bottom, 2 chopsticks, 2 craft sticks, a tiny eraser, a rock, some duct tape, 2 rubber bands, a Q-tip, glue, and some string. To get started, we want to go ahead and just take our tongue depressors, move everything else out the way. And you want to find the ones that have 2 lines drawn on them. Make sure they're facing face up, and then you want to tilt them so that this hole that's cut in is going to be perpendicular to you. Spread them out, and then you want to go ahead and take your other ones and cross them over, fit them in the lines to where the holes cut into them are also perpendicular to you. And you want them to be, even on the bottom. If they're not even on the top, that's okay. It's important that they are even on the bottom though. And what you want to do next is go ahead, open up your glue, and you can use a Q-tip. And you want to go ahead and put some glue down in that space, and then glue the tongue depressor down. And these are going to be the sides of your frame. When these were all cut and measured, they're supposed to be 60-degree triangles, so everything should come out evenly and relatively square. Go ahead, move these out of the way, and let them dry for a minute. We don't want to mess with them too much. Next up, we want to go ahead and build the arms. So you want to take your 2 chopsticks out of the packaging and make them in a shape a bit like a cross. And you want to go ahead, take on one end and wrap a rubber band around. And then if you want to just push it down, slide to the other end, and then use the other crossways. Slide up and over. All right, so you should get something a bit like this when you're done. What you want to do next is go ahead and tape the rock. So you can use the rock we put in your kits, you can find one outside, really whatever makes you happy. And you just want to make sure it's taped on there good and tight. Okay, so you should end up with something a bit like this. What you want to do next is go ahead and take your paper clip and kind of bend it out to where you've got a hook. So once it's on there, you want to go ahead, set your arm aside. You don't need to worry about it. And you want to take your eraser and your string, and you want to tie the string around the eraser. And just go ahead and double knot that on there. Next up, so you should have it on there, you want to go ahead and take the top and tie it into some kind of loop. Like so. All right, next up, this is dried a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and try to do some of the tape. We're not going to rely just on glue for this one. We're also going to tape it up. We want this to be a really strong bond. All right, now that these are both taped up, we're going to leave this sit and let it fully dry. All right, so we're all dry, and let's go ahead and assemble the actual body of our trebuchet. So we want to go ahead and take those craft sticks that we have and stick one into one hole of a frame and the other into the other. These should be a tight fit, but they will fit. I tested them all to make sure before we went out. And then you want to go ahead, just take your other frame and plug it in on the top. And it may not fit, and you may have to flip it around. That's okay. Maybe I need to flip mine around. Nope, it definitely was right before. Okay, so you should have something that should stand up. And if you want to go ahead and use some duct tape, tape that in, go ahead, go wild with it. What you need to do next is add your arm in there. So you just pop the chopstick in that V, make sure that there's enough room for the rock to swing without hitting anything. And we should be all set. Let's go test this guy out.
All right, so to go and launch your trebuchet, you're gonna go ahead and grab your eraser with the string, and that loop you tied on the end of it, you wanna hook it onto the paper clip on the end, and you just wanna go ahead and draw that back and then let go. You can go ahead, play around with the angle of the paper clip and see what it does. But have fun.
Okay, so now it's time for the science. Let's talk levers. A lever is a simple machine that consists of a beam pivoting on a fixed ridge or hinge. And they're really important and useful because they can take the inputted force of something and magnify it a whole lot. A great example of a lever would be our trebuchet arm. And it's actually a class 1 lever because we have the load on one side of the fulcrum and the effort on the other. So if we take a look at this, we've got this chopstick as our fulcrum, and we have the rock as our load, and then the effort would be us pulling the arm back. When we have our arm pulled back and then we let it go, there's nothing to hold up the rock anymore. So the rock's going to come slamming back down. What that does is it increases the velocity, or the speed plus direction, of the other end of the lever. And as that happens, it's going to greatly increase the centripetal acceleration of the eraser, and that's going to cause it to launch. If you have any questions or comments about today's activity, holler at us. Our phone number is 231-3770, or you can leave a comment on this video. Better yet, tag us on Instagram to show us what you made. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see you next time.